G'day cocktail lovers, how are you? I hope you're keeping well. Hey, welcome to my video for Home-Groni Week. What's Home-Groni Week, you may well ask? Well, if you're into cocktails at all, you've probably heard of Negroni Week. Negroni is a very popular Italian cocktail, been around for a long time. It's very easy to make cocktail as well. Equal parts of Campari, bitter aperitif, gin and sweet vermouth. For me, actually Campari's a bit much. I often substitute it if I'm doing it. This is going to be an all substitution. I didn't invent the term Home-Groni. Or the people who know my love for puns might have suspected I had a hand in it. I didn't. Been watching live streams from folk from the Applewood Distillery, an Australian gin distillery, and they also make a few special liqueurs, including basically a Campari equivalent that I'll be using tonight, which they just call Okar Amaro, and they specialise in both their gins and their other liqueurs of using Australian botanicals. So the pun is, instead of a Negroni, it's homegrown, it's Home-Gronis. So I'm going to actually make 3 different Negronis with Australian homegrown ingredients, be all Australian cocktails. The one that's close to a standard Negroni, one along the lines of a white Negroni, and I'm also going to do a milk clarified Negroni. I'm going to introduce you to the ingredients. I actually ordered a special pack from Applewood, their Home-Groni kit. This is the bitter that I was telling you about, the Okar bitter. Say, handcrafted from botanicals native to coastal rainforests of Australia. This fine bitter is a supreme example of rare native rye berries, fresh Davidson plums, and aromatic strawberry gum leaf. So that's like our main flavour element, and this is the Applewood gin, a sample of our Australian gin. Botanical rich profile of rare desert limes, native wattle seed, and aromatic peppermint gum leaf among 20 fresh and sustainably farmed ingredients. And this one, their sweet vermouth, usually sweet vermouth, such a limited edition, it doesn't even have a label. When it's gone, it's gone. You can't get this in the shops anymore. So those will be the components for my more or less standard Negroni. And for a white Negroni, this is another Okar product, Okar Gold. They just call it an Outback liqueur. Inspired by the golden hue of this sunburned land, we've brought together an array of native flavours into this fine liqueur crafted in the pristine Adelaide Hills for the enjoyment of the ultimate sundowner. So yes, it's again Australian botanicals. If you want to know what this tastes like, if you've ever had a cocktail that has yellow chartreuse or gentian in it, this is a pretty good substitute. It's in that area of botanical. And this is a different Australian gin from the Tiny Bear Distillery. This is their gin they call the Doctor, and that will be what's going in my white Negroni. And the vermouth for my white Negroni is this one they call the Lively White from Regal Rogue, another Australian maker. So that's how I'm doing 3, well, that's obviously 2 Home-Gronis. I'm going to make 2 of the more or less standard Negronis and milk clarify one of them, and then do a comparison of the 3. But let's get down to it. I did say that a Negroni is equal parts of the bitter and the vermouth and the gin, but I will freely admit I'm a little bit wussy on the bitter side of things. Like, I really don't like Campari, it's too bitter. And while the Okar bitter does not taste the same as Campari, I did actually make a test Negroni when I first got it, and it was good, but the Okar bitter is pretty strong on the bitter front. So rather than going 30 mils of each, I'm going to do 20 mils of the Okar bitter just to tame it down a bit. Nice little pop there. But if you're making one, you make it to your own taste. So 20 mils of the Okar bitter. We're also adding 30 mils of the sweet vermouth. And in case you can't tell, this is going to be a very red drink. Now this is a stirred cocktail, but it's so simple. If you just want to build this in a glass, just put your ice in a glass, put the 3 ingredients in and stir. Perfectly okay. Final ingredient, 30 mils of the Applewood gin. It's a 42% alcohol by volume, so it's got a bit of a kick to it. And those 3 ingredients in there, all we need to do now is stir. We strain that into a rocks glass that I've been chilling in the freezer, and it has a nice big chunk of ice in there. A traditional garnish for this type of drink is a slice or a twist of orange, which I'm not going to do because I'm too lazy. For the milk clarified Home-Groni, I'm going to use the same ingredients as I did for the first Negroni, closer to a classic Negroni. And this time I am actually going to use 30 mils of the Okar Amaro, mainly because this is going to be slightly diluted for 2 things. One, we need to have some acid content, so some citrus juice in here, and I'm going to add some ruby red grapefruit to get that, because we need that acid to do the curdling with the milk, which is vital to the filtering that produces the clarified cocktail. And we will also get some whey from the milk going into the cocktail, which will A, dilute it a little, and B, give it a nice, slightly different mouthfeel, a bit silkier. So I'm not scared to use a slightly higher measure of the Okar Amaro in this case, because it is going to be a little diluted. But let's get to it. Again, pretty simple. 30, 30, 30, 1 ounce of each of the ingredients. So we're going with 30 mils of the Applewood gin, and I think I over poured, but who cares? Let's treat yourself. Didn't over pour a lot, just slightly. I will be a bit more cautious with the Amaro because it's pretty strong. It's good, but it dominates. So we will be a bit more careful with our 30 ml measure of the Okar. And to top things off, well actually in this case not really, because I'm still going to add the grapefruit, but our vermouth, our special limited edition yuzu sweet vermouth, 30 mils of that goes in. And we're now, again, I love that, the colour, that beautiful rich red, really deep colour going on there. Still have to add a bit of ruby red grapefruit juice, and I didn't juice actual grapefruits. I'm a pleb, I got some grapefruit juice from the supermarket, but it's unsweetened, so we're putting 30 mils of that in. Didn't really change the colour much, it's pretty rich. But here's what's going to change. We're now adding that to the milk. Just 1 ounce of milk, as if you haven't seen any of my other videos where I do milk clarification, the simple secret is it should be about 4:1 ratio, your cocktail to your milk, and you add the cocktail to the milk, not the other way around, because otherwise the curdling process may not go the way you want. Grab myself a little spoon, just give it a gentle stir. So yeah, remember that it's this interesting burgundy colour now, starting to curdle and separate now, but I'll let that run on its merry way for in the region of half an hour, and then start the filtering process, and then I'll show you the difference in a clarified drink and a straight up Home-Groni. On to our white Negroni. This will be 30 mils, 1 ounce of each, starting with 30 mils of the Okar Gold. Like I said, if you're making this somewhere else in the world where you can't get Okar Gold, there's a lot of recipes for white Negronis online. Let's say a good one is yellow chartreuse, or there's a whole other range of aperitifs that people suggest going in a white Negroni, but because this is Aussie Home-Groni week, Okar Gold it is. Of course, we're also adding 30 mils of our gin, the Doctor, from the Tiny Bear Distillery. I did read the spiel on the Regal Rogue, and it's kind of worth it. Leading the charge in the vermouth renaissance, Regal Rogue is a new world discovery that celebrates the spirited adventurer in us all, with a flirtatious liaison of native Australian aromatics, marrying a lively citrus and subtle floral character with Semillon grape. Regal Rogue brings bountiful merriment to all manner of soirees. Yeah, gotta love people who write the copy for these. So 30 mils of our Regal Rogue Lively White. We stir that down, 10 seconds or so. Just want that chilled, tiny bit of dilution. And then when we're done, never trust a barman who does that to your drink. Okay, straining that into a rocks glass again. And there we have our white Home-Groni. Finally, we have our fully filtered milk clarified Negroni. Nice spectrum of colours going on between the three. Now we're going to do the all-important taste test. First, let's try the one that's closest to a standard Negroni. Really, the big difference is using the Australian Okar Amaro rather than Campari. Beautiful red colour, all the same. Oh, there's a real good mix in there. For my palate, it definitely works better to have less of the bitter in there. But if you like a bitter drink, like if you like a standard Campari based Negroni, get yourself some Okar Amaro. Honestly, it's a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. Like Campari is basically quite orange. This is a bit sort of deeper fruity flavour. It's got its own unique profile. But if you like a bitter edge, this one's pretty good. I just realised the traffic light colours. This is slightly orange. It's gone from being that deep red to, after the milk clarification, going this orange colour. This is the same ingredients as that one, just been milk clarified. So I did add a little bit of grapefruit juice, so I just lied about the same ingredients, but most of the grapefruit flavour is quietened down by the milk clarification, and there's some whey added to it by the clarification process. I haven't taste tested this one. I've been really good and waited to do it with you, so here we go. See, this is more my pace. The bitter taste of the Amaro is still in there, but it's taken the real edge off it. It's overall smoother, and the whey in the drink actually makes it feel very different in your mouth. Yes, mouth feel. I should be punished for using that word, but it's the one everyone uses. This has the flavour profile of your standard Negroni, but it's just softened it a little, and it's really quite good. Finally, the white Negroni. This is much like this. Is got a little bit of bitterness, but nowhere near the other ones. And you really get the different herbal flavours coming in. I think the Okar Gold is coming through the strongest. Again, if I read off here the type of things that are in this: river red gum, strawberry gum, juniper, orange peel, peppermint gum, gelatin wax, angelica root, gentian root, and of course you're going to get a lot of the botanicals from the gin as well, and the vermouth. This is a good one. This is much more my pace. I don't mind the occasional bitter drink, but I'm not heavily into bitter. So this one I am very happy with. But overall, it's quite a fun experience experimenting with these. And like I said, it's quite good to support local. Wherever you are in the world, there are probably local distillers making these products. Like, yes, Campari deserves their brand recognition. They've been around for a long time and they've established that. But bitter aperitifs or Amaros you can find in almost every country around the world. Why not give your homegrown products a chance to make a Home-Groni? Just a bit of fun, and hey, you always can feel good about supporting local business. You're not just being a boozer, you're being a patriotic consumer. That's my excuse. I'm going to go off and finish these now. I hope you look after yourself. Look, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I hope you will subscribe. Ring the notification bell so you know when I've uploaded videos. And yeah, let me know. Where do you sit on the bitter front? Would you want to go for a full strength Negroni, or are you more like me and you go, I'm gonna kind of sort of have the flavors in there, but I'm gonna take most of the fierceness out of the bitterness? Or again, the halfway mark, milk clarifying a Negroni, you get all those flavors in there, but they're just a bit less intense. They've been smoothed out a little. Well worth the experiment. And again, I'm always fascinated. It's gone from that really bright red color to a quite light orange just by running it through milk curds. I've done it a lot of times. It never stops amazing me that the process produces that result. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you are enjoying wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whether you're taking an active part in Negroni week or not. Look after yourselves. I hope to see you again soon. And for now, I'll say cheers.